Welcome. I am the teacher. Um, Today I'm going to be speaking about the number 4, which represents balance. Um, the number 4 is very significant number because without balance, we all fall. We are not stable. The things that balance us as far as life is the understanding of the male and female connection. It's the understanding of when the one has a thorough knowledge of himself. And what I mean by one is when you get into the numbers of the duality. Okay? Meaning 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 being the last one. So the number 4 represents balance. As like I have mentioned before, the number 2 is the number like 0. If you times it by itself, in other words, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 2 plus 2 equals 4, you get the same result. And the only number like that other than 2 is 0. Because 0 times 0 equals 0, 0 plus 0 equals 0. But the result of 2, something is actually manifest, which is balance. So the number 4 and the number 2 sort of work hand in hand. Also, the number 4 works very well with the 3, 6, and 9, the cycles of life. So I will illustrate that too. Also, I believe the number 4 will go into 2 parts. I don't believe I can do, in my opinion, a good explanation that you can go on with your study without going past 30 minutes. So there's a lesson in this. I'm going to call this lesson number 4. And once again, it's going to be about balance. And I always try not to go more than 30 minutes on a lesson. So this will require, some studying on your own as well. So on the board, I got, 90 times 4 equals 360, which we know, the cycles of life and 360 degrees, perfect circle, etc. It's 24 hours in a day. We were created in 6 period or 6 days. So, which is the 6 divisible by 4. You got that as being 24. Also, one of the patterns of life is 483726159. It starts with 4. It starts with balance. I also got the Fibonacci sequence on there. If you're not familiar with that, is that any 2 numbers added together in sequence will equal the next number. So right there, I got the first 8 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence, which is 0, 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 5 plus 8 equals 13. And then I got under that 13, I got 4. So the first duality of the Fibonacci sequence is the number 13, which is very significant. And I will talk a little bit about that as well. Also balance, male and female. That's what the balance is all about. And that's why a lot of times in society where they say the number 13 is bad luck, because when the universe started, we started, and the motion started off with a wobble. And the wobble has been around because a true man and a true woman has not come together as one. When a true man and a true woman comes together as one, and then you have the perfect balance. And that's what, I didn't put the number 19 up there, but that's when the number 19 is the number of the Son of Man, because he becomes completed, meaning him and his woman are one, and that is the last 10. I haven't spoke about the 3 tens. I would do that one day. But right now, I'm just want to put the basis of what each number means. So the number 4 is very significant. I'm not saying any number is greater than the other number, but knowing how balance is what it's all about. You can spend your lifetime and never have complete balance, but still have a fulfilled life. People do that all the time. Been doing that throughout the ages. But the understanding of the balance is how we all eventually get there. So all the motion of us who are striving to represent the one and be in sync with the one is all about the coming when man has his full understanding and his woman has her full understanding. You join together. And once man has his son, then it's done. Because then you'll start the innate process when full understanding of the cycles of life, the keys of life, and the mathematics, etc., etc. I also have on there, on the board, the tree of life, which equals balance. I also have an apple up there at the bottom. If you ever wonder why the apple is used in scripture when they're talking about the fruit that Eve ate from the tree of life, they depict her as biting an apple. Well, if you ever split an apple down the middle, it's a good symbol of the female ovaries. So when the tree of life is the womb, you do not add or multiply the womb. All our mathematics should start at 2, what gives us everlasting life. The one has set it in motion, so just like we cannot multiply 1, because once again, 1 times 1 times 1 will only equal 1. You can only add the 1, which we cannot multiply him. But our understanding of multiplication comes with the number 2. And 2 within itself gives balance. There's no use of us multiplying. Us cannot multiply without being balanced with the woman. So that's why the number 11 starts the duality of the one. The thought, the original thought, joining in the reflection in which he's seeing, and the reflection that he's seeing was his woman. So I would get into that. Also, those who are in understanding are aware of problem 13. And when you look at, I would mention some parts of problem 13. I may do a whole segment on problem 13, but once again, 13, when you break down the root of that, is 4. 13 represents balance. The reason why they always say 13 is bad luck, or in some of the cultures and stuff, they want you to avoid 13. They don't even have it on the elevators in some of the hotels, etc. Except there's no 13th floor. There's nothing to stand on because you are out of sync. You are not balanced. So that's why you don't see the 13. And it is a problem. Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Bringing that union together, the only way to do it is supreme mathematics and understanding that mathematics is spiritual. Numbers is not what math is just about. understanding the role and the patterns of what you see creates a harmony. So our language, our true language, our true communications is frequency, which brings a harmony, which creates notes, which creates music. It's harmony. It puts you in a state of love. It puts you in a state of freedom and justice and equality. So when you understand and you're in harmony with that and you bring harmony into the world, that's when the math works. So you might be looking at, go out to my channel and see these lessons and say, oh, what these lessons going to do for me? It's the thought. And your so-called world in which you live in, everything is past tense. What I mean by that, you're only dealing with what you see. You do not know how to digest the truth. Everything you touch is the past because it's already been thought of. Any material that you're walking on the earth, is already been thought of. You get in your car, you're driving somewhere, it's already been thought of. The plane that you're going to fly to get to another country, that's not present because you're flying in something that's already been thought of. The only time that is true presence is in thought. So I'm showing you the thought. I'm showing you the process of the thought. The universe only sees the root, and it only balances things in the root. And you will see the patterns and the cycles of life in root. The reason why I got the Fibonacci sequence on here, because it deals with the two numbers. In other words, like for instance, when you look at, let's just look at the 5 and the 8. The 5 is the previous result of the 2 and the 3. That's what equal 5. And then when you take the 5 as being the present result and 3 being the past result, then you got 8. The reason why 13 appears, because 8 is the present result. It looks at the past result and it produces a new result. It goes on into infinity. It never stops. It creates always a new number. That's why they call it the Fibonacci sequence. Now, he's not the original creator of that, but they give him credit for it. There was a gentleman out of India who lived 2 centuries before him who was using the same sequence. And there were those who was before the person in India. Nobody knows the original date of this because nobody knows the date of mathematics. But I'll tell you where it originally came from. It came from the 1. This sequence never ends. You know why? Because, once again, 2 is like 0. 0 times 0 equals 0. 0 plus 0 equals 0. 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 plus 2 equals 4. They're the only numbers that do that. You get the result. You don't mess with the womb because it is the period of existence. You do not eat from the tree of life. That's the womb. You leave the womb alone. We need the 0 in place. For all comes out of nothing. So when you go through the duality, you get the number 4. So 4 gives us balance. It is a true result and it never ends. Once you have balance, it's forever. And that's what the Fibonacci sequence shows you. It goes on forever. Some people can work it on base 12. You can look it up. I'm going to only show you the root because I'm representing the one and putting the spiritual side in within the math, let you see how to use your mathematical theology in a spiritual way. That's problem 13. Okay? I will be talking about parts of problem 13. I'm probably end up doing a whole segment on problem 13 here soon. So those of you who not in the understanding of problem 13, I will never write problem 13 on the board. There's certain, I don't, if you are in the right understanding, if you are speaking to the right people, you will see problem 13. But I will put it, I will speak on it and, discuss it. But the lessons need to come to you in a way that is deserving. Now, that's my opinion. Okay? But, you can look it up on the internet and read it yourself, but I will be discussing that as well. So I chose this method of discussion to get you to see how us, because the number 2 is us, and how we use the math properly, we will be balanced, and we are forever, because the Fibonacci sequence is all about understanding your past and dealing with the present. Thought. You understand? Thought. And it's forever. So you can put yourself in heaven at once when you have the understanding of yourself. To know self is to know the number 2, because the number 2 is us. Why is that important? Because it's going to give you a new result. Nothing comes out of the zero old. The zero makes all things new. The womb, the tree of life, makes all things new. The number 2 and the balance that equals out to the number 4, it makes all things new. 2, when you know your past and you know your present, your next manifestation will be new. There's never the same number in the Fibonacci sequence. It always produces a new number forever. It's infinity. There is a pattern of the numbers. Every 24 root number, what some people call a single digit number, the cycle repeats itself. Now, we were created in 6 periods. Okay? 6 times 4 is 24. It's 24 hours in a day. Right? So the balance is there. 90 times 4 is 360. Right? The circle is forever. And the more you go into the Fibonacci sequence, the closer and closer you get to pi, if you understand what pi is. So us, in the original thought of the one, there never was a time when we was not with the one. And the number 2 and the number 4 shows that. So 4 is balance. It is the longest process to learn because it's the first understanding after the cycle. What I mean by that, the number 3 begins the cycle and the very next number is 4. It's balance. When you go through a true cycle, And you complete that, especially when you get into the duality, because the number 12 is very significant. And 12 base, you can go out online and you can see some people have do the Fibonacci sequence on a 12 base way. And I will point out on that now, some people will show it with a lot of zeros in it. I would never show the Fibonacci sequence with zeros. I would never do that. The results will always be the single digit because I'm speaking math to you in the spiritual way. We do not mess with zero at all. So whenever I'm doing the math into the result, but you see in the Fibonacci sequence, the first number is zero. And there is a reason. Because of course, there's a reason for that. I just love how beautiful the Creator put things in motion. You know, that 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 breaks it all down. So the key to the balance is understanding your past and present thought. If you take away your past, you disappear. If you don't deal with your present, you have no future. If you understand the unity of the two, you will produce all new. So when the scripture says, the Son of Man, when he comes, he makes all things new. The number 13 represents balance because when you break it down, it equals 4. You got 6 steps after that because 13 plus 6 is 19. So you got 6 steps after that. That is when the Son of Man goes into his full understanding. Because when you get to 14, the first number after balance is 5, which is justice. If you don't have balance yourself, you don't have that understanding of self, how can you judge self? How can you properly justify your existence and put things in the order of just? So you can see the growth pattern when you understand what each principle of the number means. And don't create a language out of that. Love it and create a harmony out of that. Because when you start growing into the understanding of 13, mathematics creates a frequency because math is moving. Our language is not static. Man's language is static. What I mean by that, we name something, then it has been defined. We got a name for it. We name things and we make things static. Like you might be sitting in a chair. I mean, what you sitting down for? You know, all of us should be walking and talking all the time. Whenever you are still, you should be in a meditation state or you should be, sound asleep. Everything is moving. If I ask you to start counting, when are you going to stop? So the harmony is what we're supposed to be creating. When we speak, it's about harmony. As we think, it's about harmony. That's mathematics. That's our language. Some say there are 26 letters in the language. I suggest that you study notes, chords, music, frequency, and all that, and you have a better understanding of what you really speaking or what you really creating. Because when our emotions are in harmony with truth, you feel it. It is, yeah, you can feel it. Our thoughts are creating harmony. We are creating music. We are setting melodies in motion that brings the calm. Certain chanting when you are meditation, or the humming sound, etc., etc. These things bring a vibration. They bring harmony into your reality. So the number 2 brings all things new when you add your past and your present, which creates a true future, because you bring an equation in that's never been. It's a new equation. I will show you that, how I got, I think I did the first 24 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence. There is an unlimited number. You can go on forever. And how you use the mathematics and put the symbols with it, you can have even more numbers up there. So like I said, you can see, more of it online. People have different methods. They do it 12 base. Somebody else, I think most of them you're going to see 12 base, but people got different ways and they show it. But it's just modern mathematics way of it. There's no spirituality in it and what they're putting in it. What I'm trying to get you to see is that our lives, we create harmony. We have to know how to speak the language. You can't speak without original thought. You're not saying anything if you don't have original thought. And our thoughts should be about understanding where we come from, understanding how we hear, and understanding what we bring in the future. All things new. That's the Son of Man, people. That's how we should be thinking, because we need to bring on Him. So, in other words, is this: we have to have these kind of discussions. We have to have these type of a dialogue. We have to have the love of life in our hearts, because the Savior is born. So I'm going to talk about the Fibonacci sequence, show you that and how it relates to how it relates to 4 on that, and I'm probably show you some of the keys, how it also relates to show you the cycles of life and that as well, the 3, the 6, and the 9. So I'm gonna make a part 2 on this balance. So this I would just name this part 1 on the number 4, which is balance, and I'll break down part 2 for you, and then like always, you're gonna have to work the lessons as well yourself.